Hello again, and welcome to the corner studio here in my garage. And today we're working on copper panel repousse, and as you can probably tell, this is a historical design based on the Isla Lewis chess pieces, and I've done my own take on it, as artists do. We're going to see how this thing turns out. I've already got my tools out, and we've got a front camera and an overhead that I'm going to have both of them going. So during editing, we may be bouncing back and forth between the two, or I may settle on the one that I like the look of better. And I think we're ready to go, so we'll be right back. I'm going to start on this middle figure here because there's no fixed rule about where you begin. I've selected one of my curved liners here. I'm going to work on that helmet. And this was a nice pencil drawing, and I came back with the marker pen and thickened the lines so that you guys who are watching could see what we're doing here. The pencil lines aren't so easy to see all the time, but I can get rid of this black marker after the fact, but it's useful, I think, for the camera to have a better view, therefore the viewer to have a better view. Pencil lines work. Usually that's what I do when I make the basic drawing. So, and you can see I'm kind of outlining the figure. I've got this kind of slightly curved tool, and I'm going to use it as long as it seems like it's working. And the plan is I'll do each figure before I move on to the next one. So I thought this one in the center just kind of called to me. And my usual liner, the usual liner tools, I'm going to actually have to switch over to kind of a smaller set that I have. Once we get to the detail portions. I don't usually work really small with these repousses, but this one's got some finer detail in it, and I can't use bigger liner tools on it, so at some point we'll swap over. So I think I'll pick up a straight one here and do some of the straight runs. Even though that spear looks like a solid black line, it is going to be two lines running parallel. So I've got some metal liners here that I use sometimes, and they're smaller. They require using a metal hammer with, so I'm going to figure that eye is about and we have kind of a line for the eyebrow. And this one is just slightly curved. I think that it would work right there for the part under the nose and for the mouth. And And the reason I needed to bring this other set out, I kind of touched on it, but you can see the difference in the widths of the tool. This just gives me a capability to get into some tighter places, and for this particular design, I have to get into some tighter places. So. And we need just a little straight run for the horse's mouth there. And I'm going to hint at the horse's nose too. We'll just give that a little curved line. Now, unless I've missed somewhere, this one, when we turn it over, should look pretty much fully outlined, and I'm thinking mostly that does. Actually, we didn't hit the horse's eye. So we get our take another look at that. And I think we've got our basic outline done there. Oh, I see that the hand is missing a couple of items, so we didn't close the bottom of that hand up. So I think that kind of hints at the fingers a little bit. It's easier for the camera to see these thick marker pen lines, but it's actually easier when you're doing the repousse to just leave it in pencil. And I'm able to pick out detail a little better just with pencil, but for the sake of filming here, and everything looks about as intended here, so I'm going to move on to one of the other figures here. Okay, so these teeth and the shield around them is kind of a tedious spot, and we're going to do what we can do to keep the design looking correct. So it may be a detail that kind of gets lost. And it probably looks more mangled with that marker pen line, but we're going to flip this over here in a second and see what things look like. So I think we must have missed something around in there, and I'm looking at the rest of it. It looks pretty good. Yeah, we didn't get this part. So the sheet of copper is starting to get a little bit bent up and wobbly there, but this one has got enough around it to be mostly flat, so I don't feel the need to straighten these yet or to mess with them, so I'll just keep going forward. And we're just working again with the kind of gentle curve there. So we're going to need definitely a smaller set here, and I'm grabbing the metal hammer. I think we'll get all that line done, and then we'll worry about the round eyes. And so I'm looking for stuff that is about the width of this particular line right there. That would be the edge of the throne. That one is a little bit tighter, that line. Now we need to switch over to some curved pieces. I think above the eye here. I'm trying to get that one to set exactly. And we'll go in and do the eyes while we're there. And these little dots, the jewels on the crown, we're going to give them a little definition. And it looks like these hands are mostly what's left. Alright, so I'm looking at that. I think just reviewing each figure, all three of these look fairly well outlined. So what I'm going to do here is take a quick break, rest the hands, and we'll be right back to do the actual repousse part. Well, we're back in session. I took a little bit of paint cleaner and paint remover, and I went ahead and hit the design here where the black marker was. You can still see a little bit in the recessed areas, but we're going to take a look at doing the repousse on this stuff now. And I've gotten out the board that I use. It's got a little bit of a hollow depression in it there where we can push these figures back. This is the back side, of course, and this is the front side that we were putting the liner marks on, and we'll just get started. I don't anticipate that this one is going to take quite as long as some of my other repousse projects do, because the designs have already been, they're more complicated. They have a lot of lines in the center, and some of my other repousse is more outline-ish, so we won't be doing quite as much of the actual chasing or pushing of the metal out, because I want to preserve these lines that we have in the design. So that's kind of my thinking anyway, but we'll just get started and we'll see how these things are going. And I'm going to keep the tool and the mallet blows at the periphery to start with. Then we'll move to the center. Now we'll just move right along each figure. And this is kind of a version of air chasing, because there's nothing, it's not hitting a backer board there. It's being allowed to actually expand into that empty space. And as we did with the other figure, we kind of stayed to the periphery, and now we're kind of going back to the center and getting it up. And the last one here, and most of these are kind of bottoming out in the, because it's not a really deep recessed area, but enough. And what I'm going to do is flip this over and try straightening out our panel again so we can get some more resistance. So I pick one of these billets that's a little thicker, and we'll just try getting it to lay down again. And I don't think this one is going to take us very long to finish, because these figures are already trying to rise up at us, and you can see the kind of the three-dimensionality there that we're getting. And that was just the first pass at, you know, expanding the figures down into the empty space there. So I'm going to take a, we were using kind of a narrow tool then. I'm going to take a thicker one and just kind of keep this more towards the center this time, and just really give it some good wax to try to raise up that center part of the designs. So we've got that first one. Let's turn our attention here to the middle one. Sometimes in artwork, we've all had those experiences where they go sideways. You hit a point where you wonder if you're going to be able to recover a work that you're in the middle of. This one just seems like it's just going too well. It's happened fast. It's because of the detail and the design. We really worked on that, and now as we puff this thing back out, it's really just starting to. I think when we turn this over, we'll be surprised how much it's popped out. One thing I've learned over the years with artwork, at least for me, is that you can fall into this thing where you keep fussing with a piece of art and overworking it. And I have, in recent years, tried to wean myself out of doing that. When I see something and it looks like it's starting to work, I'll pull back and stop fiddling with it. But let's get this thing to lay down again and see where we are. These figures are just really starting to leap out at us. Well, we're definitely starting to get some of that nice three-dimensionality in the design. And I think just one more stretching of this metal maybe will get us where we would like to be with this. And I'm going to take that one that I put away and just go up right into there between the rider and the horse. So we're going to hit this one more time on the recessed side of the block, and this time I'm just in the very deepest part of the design going to try to just expand it upward. This one has the horse and the rider going kind of in different directions, so it's a little harder to just get the billet down into the center of it, but we're making good headway. I can feel this thing expanding. And we'll move to the last one, the queen there. Alright, and we'll flip our block over and flatten this thing once more. And we're getting some real three-dimensional rise in these guys. I'm going to recenter it on the overhead camera, and I just think we may, once we get this flattened out, maybe at a stopping point with this piece. And I'm going to do what I often typically do with these guys is going to just whack them a little bit in the main part of the design with the hammer. Just some direct blows there. And let's flip that over and see what we've got there. That kind of gave it a little more three-dimensionality, I think. And we're going to sit that down again. See at this point if we can get it to flatten completely. Now I'm going to flip that over and actually just use the block here to bend it a little bit. Now a lot of times I do these guys with outdoor installations, and I just drill a hole, you know, every so often and set them into like the side of a barn or whatever you're installing this to, and then over time you get that nice patina that happens with the weather and the seasons. It'll turn kind of a brown, green in spots. You got the little bit of marker pen that's left there. I could take the paint and varnish remover and go back and get most of the rest of that out of the crevices, but I'm not sure that I really want it out. I kind of like a little bit of it just kind of hanging around there, but if I decide to do a painting of this, we'll get the oil paints out, we'll set up the camera, and we'll do a part 2 on this one. But right at the moment, I kind of like the look of it like it is, and I think we're going to leave it maybe like this as its final form. But if you see a part 2 pop up at some point, you'll know we changed our mind about it and decided to fill this in with an oil painting. So what I'm going to do is I'll put this up as the last part on the easel, shine the lights on it a different way so you can get a different angle of view on it, and we'll just sign off at this point. I want to thank everybody for joining us for this one, and we hope to do another one soon and have you join us. I'm reminded once again, even a guy who holds himself out as being a camera person with the channel, these things with the copper panels, due to the reflections and the lighting, they're exceedingly hard to film, but I think we've got our final version here, and once again I want to thank everybody for joining us.